Okay, we are beginning the third perek of Meseches Kalla Rabbasi. And the third part of the perek starts with the following brisa. The derech of Talmidei Chachamim is to be anav, modest, humble. Shafal, also modest. Shfal ruach, also modest or humble. So generally speaking, an anav means somebody who is modest internally. A shfal ruach is somebody who manifests humility. Okay, so anavah is more of an attitude. Shfal ruach is more of a mode of behavior.
Okay.
Okay. Gemara minoni mile. Wherefore, whence is this learned? You see, Bakshuas Hashem Kohen Be'aretz, quest HaKadosh Baruch Hu, all the modest of the earth. Hashem Mishpato Pa'alo. His judgment is his activity. Bakshu Tzedek, quest righteousness or justice. Bakshu Anavah, quest modesty. Right, Yisrael B'Yom Af Hashem. May be able to hide yourself on the day of God's wrath. So it says, Rabbi Chaim says, Bikshu Hashem Chui, Le'el Hashem Mishpato Pa'alo. Those who God's justice is his activity. Hainu Talmidei Chachamim, since the Talmidei Chachamim are judged on a higher level than anybody else. Omer Bakshu Anavah tells them to quest modesty. We're told that if you want to be you want to be Talmid Chacham, you have to quest for tzedek and anavah. Rabbeinu Kodesh Kava Mati Adin Kra. When he got this pasuk, Tzavach Ubachi, he shouted and cried, Bakshu tzedek, Bakshu anavah, Vulai. No guarantees. Quest for it. Quest for justice. Quest for modesty. Maybe, right? It says here, Ulai in the bottom. Ulai tisasru. Maybe you'll be. So you can be a big honor, be a big Rodef Tzedek, and there are no guarantees. Okay, this seems to be a separate problem, but it seems to also be something that Rabbi Yehuda Nasi cried. Woe to creatures sin and hold that when they're dead, at least that's a refuge. And I'm not sure who says this, but how many Averos are capable of presumably preserving past death? No, that's not what Rabbi Chaim says. Chaim says, Shemisa Manos Shomrim. They say, people who think death will protect them. How many Averos Kodesh Baruch Hu going to remember for us after we die? Oilem. Woe to them. Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Nahum, Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Nahum, Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Nahum, Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Nahum. Kol Avonos Adam Chakukim Al Atzmosov. All person's sins are engraved on his bones. And the metaphor is, says Rabbi Chaim, Ki Ein Shichol Lefonov. Hashem doesn't forget. Kol Chilusav Ksumim Al Yad Yimino. All of his merits are written on his right hand, which is interesting because it seems like the evil is much more embedded in a person, right? It's chakuk atzmoisov, right? It's carved on his bones, whereas the zchuyos are just written on his hand. So I assume means that it's much easier to use the zchuyos than it is to get rid of the averos. Those zchuyos are not don't affect the person as intrinsically as the averos do. Shalotamar, don't say Shabnosem Nichtavim, but it's Chiyosem Ein Nichtavim. Don't say the averos are written down and the Chiyos are not written down. In other words, no, they're also there. Just like the averos are inscribed in you, so too the mitzvahs are, just not the same way. Minayin Shekain, and we know that it's on his right hand. Hashem Shomrecha, Hashem preserves you, Hashem Tzilcha, Hashem reflects, is your shadow, your shade. Al Yad Yiminecha, on your right hand. Rabbi Chaim says, Hashem says, "Menecha yedei zchiyasecha shebiyari menecha yeh shomrecha l'tzel lecha." By those merits, HaKadosh Baruch Hu watches you and shades over you. Amar Rabbi Shimon Levi, tzorich litain b'libo hadvarim elu v'chozer me'elav. You have to remember the following things, and you do tshuva automatically. Borei, come see. Maxi says, Ki yotzer harim uvorei ruach. God formed the mountains and created the spirit. Umagil adam masicho, and tells the person what his conversation was. Afilu sicha kala magidin lo b'shas misa. Even a light conversation a person has in his lifetime, it comes back to when he dies. So Rabbi Chaim curtails the extent of this. There's a few sicha kala divrei schok shalifnei tashmi. Lo tzarich l'ritzi kuruchman b'gemara chagiga. It's about where a person is about to have a relationship with his wife. He's encouraged to be loving and affectionate. If he takes it too far and becomes frivolous, that he calls sicha kala. That's true, but I don't think necessarily the Gemara here means to limit understanding sicha kala to that. It means anything which a person says flippantly and lightly, and a person thinks it's just going to be dismissed out of hand as insignificant. You're wrong. Nothing is insignificant. Everything has significance. Okay? Even the lightest conversation. Ketzam adam mace. How's a person die? Three malachim come. Echad shu malach shemavis. One is the angel of death. Shei Yisov, and the second is a scribe. Ashlish Yemuna olav, and the third person is evidently the person who the third malach is evidently the malach who's in charge of a person. In the Gemara itself, this doesn't appear. In the Gemara itself, the malach hamavis seems to be handle these things either himself or by a shliach solo. But here it seems that we have three components here. So Shlishi Yemuna olav Omar lo kumi gia kitzcha. Rendas come. I'm not coming. But I know my hand does not come. Yad so sheva so fair so the scribe system chashev yom avu shnaisa. So the Sofer enumerates his days and his in his years. I guess to prove that time is up. The human being opens his eyes. V'ros malchamaves. He sees malchamaves umizazeh, and he's shocked. And this is in the Gemara. Nova upon up, he falls on his face. His length is from one end of the world to the other, which of course is symbolic of the fact that death applies to everything, everywhere, all times. He's full of eyes from his foot to his top of his head. It's all symbolic of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and his malachim.
Look at your ticket. It does say that.
Seeing everything. It's really Malach HaMaves sees everything and knows what he's doing. Kulei Levusho Eish, his cloak is fire. Suso Eish, his wrap is fire. Raglav Eish, his legs are fire. Besakin Eish Shabiodo, in the fiery a knife which is hands. Tipo Shamara Tluyabo. There's a drop of bile which is at the tip of the knife. Mimena mace. So the Malach HaMaves does not have to cut you up with that knife. From that drop of bile, a person dies. Mimena Masriach, that drop of bile, a person becomes repugnant, repulsive. Mimena Panamarichos, and that drop of blood, his face drains of colors, that drop of bile. The Eino mace at Sheroeh Baruch Kodesh Baruch Hu Ba'atzmo, which is obviously a very difficult thing to say, because we know you can't see Hashem. So some Shechina, which a person has access to. A person can't see me and survive. They can't see each other while they're alive. When they die, they can see. At that moment, when they die, they can see. Okay. Going to Rabbi Chaim, people Shamar Fliyabo Basakin. there is the drop about at the edge of this knife. When the sick person sees him and the knife unsheathed in his hand, he trembles. And the Gemara says also, he opens his mouth, cast that vial into his mouth, that he dies and that he is repugnant. Okay. There it says, before Kodesh Baruch Hu, all those who return to the dust will submit themselves. So mainly the last act of a human being is the submission. It's kind of like a tziduk hadin, I guess. Submission to Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's seeing Hashem, whatever that means, and acknowledging, well, it's time to go. So me, the person, obviously, once he's confronted with the truth, he can see it's the truth. Everything in this world, Piv Me'id, his mouth testifies, his own mouth, because Baruch Hu Chosein. Hashem signs the receipt, so to speak. Nehemiah it says, Binish Bati, I took an oath. Yotza Mipid Staka, Yotza Mipid Staka, Davar V'lo Yashuv. Let's see, Rabbi Chaim. Mishpat tzedek yotza mipiv, the just judgment has come from his mouth. The lawyer will not be taken back. So anyway, that's a pretty frightening thought, and therefore a person has to always examine and explore their end and be prepared for it. The person has to look at his hand. Rabbi Levitas ish yavna omer ma'od hevesh ruach. Be very much low in your spirit. The hope of human beings is to end up as maggots. Okay, Anavah ushva ruach. So therefore, the rabbi said, you know what? There's nothing to be proud about. Be a Anavah ushva ruach. Okay, that's not all. Next list, Brisa. Zarizu mimula. He has to be diligent or hasty and full. Time says Gemara is going to explain what mimula means. Ikadar mimulach. Some say mimulach is like mimulach salted. Ikadar mimalei makom avosav, that he fills the place of his father. So salted means like sharp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Time says the reason Mimulach he's quick and he's sharp. In other words, it's not it's like it says Mimulach. That was the first one, sorry. The second was more in line with our reading. The way this shot, a person should take over and be take the place of his parents in Torah Ma'asim Tovim. And that's Memale Makam Avos. Manamar says it's Mulach salty, Mulach Tahor. That which is salty is Tahor, right? So that means that he has to be pure.
Keep reading.
Okay, sure. Should say that a rave of chol adam. V'lo yeh k'kdeira she'ein ba melach. That's very nice. You're right. I should have kept reading. So it says the siv gabe mulach tor gabe tor siv she'ein mulach v'she'eh tor u'memulach. You should be pure and salted. That's why the Torah says the sodomite salt, which is bland. So a person is supposed to be something which is salty, is bland, and is not orei b'chol adam. Something which is salty is pleasing to the palate. And so too, Talmid Chacham has to be orev for everybody. Okay, that's a nice shot. Melachim means salted as being having taste. Okay, brisa aluv ahuv l'chol adam. He's supposed to be accept to be downtrodden. In other words, he shouldn't insult others, and if others insult him, he should respond. He should be beloved of all people. Ushval ruach l'anshei beso, and low in spirit, even to members of his own household, which presumably means primarily his wife. And that's the word says matil ema yiser aleim. You should not put an undue fear upon them. It says here, well, it doesn't really have anything in the Rabbi Chaim. Okay, Yirei Chet. The Talmid Chacham should be, it says the Brisa, Talmid Chacham should be Yirei Chet, and V'doresh Es Adam Lefi Ma'asav, and understand people according to their deeds. V'amar Masha Yeshli Ba'olam Hazeh Ein Li Chayvetz B'hem. And he should say, in that which he has in this world, I have no desire for them. This world is not mine. Yoshev U'Metanif K'susnei Talmid Chacham. And Talmid Chacham is somebody who sits and willingly soils his clothing. If he has to sit in the dust or something like that in front of Talmid Chacham. He doesn't ever swear. So Kinyan, he asks according to the proper topic, according to the rule topic which you're studying. And when he responds with the halacha. Okay, turn Rabban. Anav minayin. I don't know a person supposed to be modest. Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu is very modest. Moshe's praise. Looking after Moshe. It says that Moshe was different than them. How a person says ruach from Aaron. The lips of the Kohen preserve wisdom and Torah they should press from his mouth. He's a malach. See if Torah says message, some of you. There's Torah truth in his heart, it was in his mouth. And iniquity was not found in his lips. He went in peace and straightness. And he caused many to turn away from sin. So, Chazal, so it says, "Ein lecha shvar ruach yosem mirodev shalom shvar ruach mirodev shalom." Not sure chashva b'dat chol here, but it says here that the being rodev shalom is somehow making himself shvar ruach, because you have to kind of like subjugate yourself to each one in order to get them to make peace. So chashav b'dat, I think it's going to this. Think in your mind, echu rodev shalom. How we be rodev shalom? Imenu shvaluach. You can't do it if a person's not shvuach. Shvaluach. It's not low in our spirit. Okay, so imadim mekalei omer shalom alecha. Person, because you say shalom aleichem, right? You don't lose your cool. Adam Meir Moshe fights with him. L'shoy sake is silent. Vonim Rabu Shnayim. If there are two people arguing with him,
the two people are fighting with each other.
With each other. Yeah. Okay, you're right. Rabu Shnayim Hu Mashbiru Chovalech et Samar Atzeu Al Zeh Chen Lazeh. He goes in peace each one. Shkachesum Nuso Shel Aaron Atzai. So Aaron is doing Shemel Shnayim. Shem Merivim. Two people are fighting. Okay, so Echov Mar Ploni Shlom Alecha. Ploni Shlom Alecha Rabbi. From a Rabbi. V'Omer Shlom Alecha Rabbi Mori. So of course, if Aaron calls you Rabbi, you have to call him Aaron Rabbi Mori. Ma Mevakish Mori Khan. What are you doing here? V'Omer Lo Ploni Chaverecha Shigrani Etzlecha. So say, friend, send me to you to appease you. Neisha Omar Ani Sarachti Chaveri. It says, I'm the one who's at fault. Which is of course not true. Immediately that person thinks, because that's tzaddik, but life is saying, V'haya Omer, it says, so such a tzaddik came to appease me, he would say, Rebbe, sarachti your love, no, it's my fault. He told him, V'amar lo kain, he told him this, publish name Badera, in other words, to go back to the first guy and say the same thing, Aaron would say the same thing, publish name Baderach, each guy was instigated to go and ask Mechila. Okay, I think we'll stop here because it keeps going on and on. The next story is about making peace between husband and wife. But the bottom line is that we're supposed to learn from Aaron that you're supposed to go shval ruach. So it really probably is going on the previous, but this whole Gemara is probably going to the previous price, not on this one. It's, even though it's placed over here, probably is going to the previous price. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
So we're still on the shval ruach. Yeah, good. Okay.
Okay.
We're going about Aaron for a while. Okay.
Shkach.
Okay, take care. Have a good week.
You too. Bye.